So let's start with the next session, that is the fifth session of the fifth session of the fifth week. So that is about the role of government and interventional areas. So the role of government in community development is both foundational and supportive, providing structure, resources, and regularity frameworks to the shape and enable the community growth. Because government has provided many spaces like the Baradgar, like Anganwadi, ICDA, under the ICDS program, and many more. Right? Even the Panchayati Raj institution has given the lot of the spaces for to intervention by the different agencies to go with different programs. Right? So governments are uniquely positioned to address community development or community needs on a wide scale, right? Coordinating policies, programs, and services that promote equity, economic opportunities, and social welfare. Through strategic intervention, governments can stimulate local development and address issues such as poverty, education, public health, infrastructure, and the employment. So that is what the government are considered to be the foundational in bringing community development, as well as the supportive. If as an NGO, if you want to intervene into the community, you can go with the governmental programs, so it will be easy for to intervene into the community. So the role of the government and the community development, as according to the Lees, it about the laissez-faire, revolutionary communism, and social reform. Lee has states that questions about social improvement can be answered in different ways. He classified them into three broader categories. That is what the governmental interventional style. So, or the kind of the government where they are promoting social community development, right? So, first one is about the laissez-faire. Laissez-faire is what? Where the minimal, the private citizens or is minimal, means particularly economic activity, it offered minimal assistance to those who might otherwise starve. The community workers who has faith in such ideologies, which is described by the others in liberal capitalism, will expect little help from the government in provision of schools, hospitals, health area, recreational centers, and all, and other welfare measures. Where the social workers actually encourage people to buy these services if the government is minimally incorporated and minimally participated into any particular area. So that is what the laissez-faire actually society, particularly from professional background, we have to look into how much the government is actually participating here. Revolutionary communism. Revolutionary, according to Lees, is an oversimplified version of Marxist philosophy, which is just the opposite of laissez-faire. The state controls every aspect of people's life, right? Just and when the controlling the production and all. So as well as the distribution aspect. So community workers here in this particular approach, with faith in such ideology, will actually encourage people to accept this kind of the social structure or the governmental structure. So the last one is about the social reform. Here in the social reform, it's more a kind of revolutionary aspect, where it is given the space by the government that the community could participate and bringing the change through the kind of the social reform, in particularly maybe in particular smaller area, maybe education and health and all, where the government has given the space and helpful in bringing change as per the requirement of the community. So these concepts represent different approach to community development and social responsibility, ranging from minimal government intervention, that is the laissez-faire, to complete state control, that is the revolutionary communism, and then with the welfare state offering a middle ground. And that is what the social reform, middle ground that balance individual freedom with government support. So here in the social reform is about the welfare state, where government has given the space to participate, to talk about their needs and all, and then accordingly government would participate. So these three, as per the Lee, has the three different ideology of government programs, and the way the government has intervened. It may vary from country to country, it may vary from government to government of within the same state. Then role of government as a facilitator and as a partner. So beyond direct intervention, government often act as a facilitator, creating policies that encourage community involvement and partnership with non-governmental organization. That is what important. The private sector or community groups. That may be a CBOs, that community-based organization or religious-based organization. So by fostering collaboration with the government, ensures that community development initiatives reflect the needs and aspiration of peoples they serve. So by incorporating the NGOs, it is more confident of the government that the kind of the programs and policies they are coming with, they are more according to the need, and that reflects the needs of the community and an aspiration of the people they work and they serve. So, in summary, the government's role in community development is multifaceted, right? Actually spanning direct intervention, regularly framework, and collaborative efforts. We are present day we are concerned about, and we are talking about the PPP approach, that is a private partnership, where the government's programs has been outsourced to the private ownership or to the NGOs or governmental to the NGOs, to the international agencies, and even to the some kind of the CSR. So through this PPP, that is a public-private partnership, effective government engagement in these areas can lead to actually resilient and self-reliant and thriving communities that are well equipped and adapt to changing needs and then challenges. So we can take the example of Pratham as one very great big name in the field of the non-governmental areas. So that collaborates with the government and particularly the government schools to improve learning outcomes through innovations, teaching methods, and community engagement, enhance educational quality and increase enrollment, and also work in the retention rates in the schools and fix the dropouts of the community. And that is what the Pratham has introduced, the very interesting way of teaching. So that works in the that's actually have a lot of the success, particularly in the rural areas. So creating a more interesting mode of education by which the rural population, the children in the rural area, they are pulled back to the schools. Areas of intervention in the community development are the economic development, microfinance and credit access, job creations and skill training, support for local business. So these are the areas of intervention by the community development, focus on addressing the diverse needs and challenges faced by the by the communities. These intervention aims to enhance the quality of life, empower individuals, and promote a sustainable growth. So these are some area. Health and nutrition is another very important area of intervention by the community development. The workers who are working in the community development, so community health education, access to healthcare services, nutrition. So health is another very important area. Then education and literacy. So within the education is also about the early childhood education, that we all know that in the ICDS program, that is the Anganwadi, they have promoting this early childhood education. So we can be instrumental into that and supported the Anganwadis in the local areas to actually enhance their overall quality, right? Adult education and literacy program, which has been considered as a secondary aspect in the developmental perspective, but has to be taken as very important area, because once you engage the women in the microfinances, so there at least the little literacy is important. So that is what the adult education and women education is important that way. School improvement initiatives, that what we have already discussed about, that is what the Pratham has actually intervened into, and there are many more many other organizations also involving into that. Gender equality and women's empowerment is another very important area of intervention. Environmental sustainability, social cohesion and community engagement, which talks about the building social capital, civic engagement and participation, conflict resolution and peace building, implementing programs to address conflict and promote peaceful coexistence within diverse communities, housing and infrastructure development, affordable housing initiatives, community infrastructure projects, urban planning and development. Please keep in mind that whatever the intervention we are talking about, it's of the community development, is mainly the programs and then policies being governed by the government, where many a time they have been outsourced this or taking the partnership with the private organization, that is the NGOs, and could be through the CSR and all. So these are some areas of community development intervention. Youth development is another very important area, because we know that our country is a youth country. We have the good amount of the youth population that need to be engaged, because youth is having a lot of the energy, and that energy need to be channelized, and this channelization is so important to through which we can use their energy into positive direction. So providing platform for youth participation in communities initiatives, leadership training and skill development, and through sports of recreational activity. So this all the way we actually channelize the youth into right direction. Mentorship and support networks, we have to develop the provide the mentorship to the youth of the community, so through the which, because many a time they are directionless, so it's very important to provide kind of mentorship to those youth, particularly in the rural area, so that they can get the right direction for the development in the future. Culture preservation and community identity, that is cultural heritage programs are important, particularly of the tribal communities, and then community festivals and events are also actually encourage the kind of through organizing these kind of the activities, you can encourage the cohesion, enhance the cohesion within a community. That is very important to capitalize this social capital, and enhance the social capital is helpful in overall community engagement, community development. Technology and digital inclusion, access to information technology, digital literacy program, these all are again very, very important, because access to information technology is the need of the hour. Promoting access to technology and the internet that bridges the digital divide in the community, so providing training to the youth and to the general, to the community members, particularly in the rural areas, can reduce this digital divide. And digital literacy programs, that through this all providing the training to digital skills and to enhance the employability and access to the information and services. So by digital literacy program, two things you can do. One thing is giving the opportunity to work in those areas, as well as very demanding area. And second is about, through once someone is digitally skillful, he and she is more able to get the information of the different programs and policies, so he will be and she will be more instrumental in bringing change in their own community. So these are some of the very important areas of intervention that reflect the actually multifaceted nature of the community development, by addressing economic to social to political to environmental to cultural aspect. These interventional aims to create sustainable and resilient communities, collaboration among different stakeholders, including government agencies, NGOs, community organization, and residents, to be effective and impactful. The next topic is about the sustainability and community development. So sustainable was added to the post-war development lexicon in the 1980s, joining the economic, urban, rural, industrial, agriculture, technological, and other types of the developmental, including community. That is the part of the community development. It remains contested concept in terms of the definition. So every definition is of this sustainability is coming up with a new kind of the idea, a new set of the idea. So anyway, the sustainable development. So as per the World Commission of Environmental and Development in the year 1987, has actually this definition has been cited mainly. So this talks about the sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the future, or meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs, right? So in the present day needs requirement, and then future, keeping the things for the future as well. So this definition actually emphasizes the meeting of needs as opposed to the wants, and places a clear focus on intergenerational equity. So you should not be allowed to use all the resources at once. It implies that need of for making developmental decisions on behalf of those not yet born and unable to participate in the process, but who will actually nonetheless too affected by outcomes of these process. So what remains subject to interpretation, how this type of equity might be met and what it would be entailed. So how we can keep the things for the future generation. So the balance of these all definition provide a measures to clarity, as well as introduce two fundamental parameters, but it's cited much less often and remains less well known. So even this is the World Commission on Environmental and Development's definition is been taken as the important parameter for the whenever we talk about the sustainable development. Sustainable development contains two key concepts. One is about the concept of needs. Second is about the idea of limitations. So development of all types require the reconsideration and transformation in the light of the sustainability imperative, right? Community development is not exception. New approaches and models are emerging around this area, right? Evidence indicates that that this is less movement than a scientific revolution. and as a such present a paradigm shift. So this sustainable development is not only about the scientific invention, rather than it's a kind of paradigm shift. So being a member, or being the being belong to any fields, you have to concern about that. So it's not only the area of the researchers that they actually scientists measure that the kind of present day ecology, how it is going to be changed in the coming years, how the glaciers are melting, how these whole things happen around the world, how it is going to be affected to the whole community as, or whole globe as in one village or one community. So here a small it's also about the every one of us has to be has to be taken consideration this area, how we keep our environment safe for the future, right? So this is what we have are very much aware about, that what are the different things we have to take into consideration while we talk about the sustainable development. So in the sustainable development, it's about the environmental responsibility, social progress, economic development. Actually, if you look into the debates of this all developmental debates, so very first thing is in this area where the world has talked about the development is more from the economic development perspective. Later on, social development or social progress has also taken into consideration that without social progress, without intervening into the different social areas like education, health and all, we cannot think about the sustainable development and then development in true sense. Later on, it has also been identified that in the economic development race, and providing the social progress, so we actually not concerning about the environmental aspect or environmental sustainability. So later on, environmental responsibility has taken into consideration to provide equity for the future generation. So through through this social progress, economic development, environmental responsibility, how you can create a world, a more viable world, where the environment is good, where the whatever the fruit of the economic growth has to reach to everyone, where everyone is socially get all kind of the justice, a livable play world, a fair world. So this is what the sustainable development's goal: livable world, create a viable world, creating a more fair world through social progress, through economic development, through environmental responsibility. All right. So essential components that makes community sustainable. For community development to truly support sustainable communities, several essential components are required to ensure the longevity, resilience and inclusiveness of development affairs. These components could be social, economic and environmental, that we have already discussed. So while developing any programs, the government has to look into all these three parameters to bring to reach the goals of the sustainable development. Community. So these are some of the approaches while you think about the sustainable development. Very first one is about the community participation and empowerment. So engaging community members in decision making process, you can think about the sustainable development, because they themselves could plan and implement and monitor their own process that is more sustainable in all terms. So sustainable in terms of longevity of that program, as well as if you have to inform them the impact of any programs on the environment, they could also incorporate those. So that is what the community participation and empowerment through participatory planning, empowerment and social inclusion could be the part and parcel of community development from the sustainable perspective, right? Social capital and cohesion. So social capital is about building trust and cooperation, collective identity and belonging. So that is, we have already discussed so much in detail. So social capital, which includes networks, relationship and trust within a community, is crucial for sustainable development, right? When everyone is participating and developing a good trust with each other, collective identity has been there. So this would be a more sustainable program. Economic sustainability, so that is what the local economic development, income diversification, financial literacy. So through these all areas, financial literacy, that is about the education residents, about the saving and investing, and even the managing finances to build economic resilience. Also in present day, it's also important to inform the community about the digital frauds around the economic financial aspect. So there's also become the part of financial literacy. Income diversification, that is about promoting varied income opportunities to the community to reduce reliance on the single industry or few industry available in the community. So here we can take the example of Gandhian ideology, where the Gandhiji was more in idea of promoting, the small scale industries. So through that small scale industries or village based industries, so the money should not be in hand of only few, rather it is more distributed among many. Next is about the environmental sustainability. That is in general, when you talk about the SDG Sustainable Development Goals, so in all way, according to the definition of Brilliant Commission, this also is about the environmental sustainability. So renewable resources and conservation. So there are also the programs. The government is so much concerned about that, about the solar, non-renewable energy. Sorry, renewable energy. Concerning about the renewable energy, promoting the renewable energy like the solar panel and all. So they are also promoting the kind of EVs, that is the electrical vehicle. So and here it's about that this environmental sustainability involve adapting practices that conserve natural resources and reduce pollution and support ecological health. That's very important, and this is what the issue that every one of us are actually facing. So communities that practice environmental sustainability are more likely to withstand environmental shocks and contribute to broader ecological stability. So waste reduction and recycling, environmental awareness. So my dear student, here I would like to give in one example that using AC is creating a kind of vicious circle. The more you every day the AC, the selling of the AC has been increased, and now it became the part and parcel of our everyday life, in particular in the urban areas. I'm talking about here the urban area. So the more we using the AC, it's actually giving the this all heat to the environment. And so this is one point of how this heat has been actually we are contributing to the overall earth heating. So AC is one minor aspect, but that is what they are. So I'm usually totally against of using the AC. It's difficult in a present time because the temperature goes so up. Even though this is what we can actually promote, the kind of the kind of living, so through which we can minimize the use of AC. That is what in turn gives a lot of the heat to the earth. So we can promote the renewable resources, we can work on the waste reduction and recycling. We can also creating environmental awareness in the community. That is what point I have just tried to make you aware on. So equity and social justice. For community development to be sustainable, it must promote fairness and equity, means taking the participation of all the vulnerable, all the disadvantaged members of the community, or particularly the subsection of the community of a larger community, right? So any programs and policies should be accessible by all, and especially of those who are considered to be vulnerable, right? So here resources should be based on the equity, mean fair access to the every kind of the resources like housing, education and healthcare has to be given to everyone being the part of that community. Inclusivity means that is definitely active inclusion of marginalized group, particular in decision making and even the economic opportunity, advocacy and social support. Education and capacity building. Whenever we talk about the development from the sustainable perspective, education and capacity building actually bring more sustainability in the any kind of the program, because education is always considered to be very powerful tool and in the sustainable development. By building local capacity, communities are better equipped to maintain and expand development gains independently. Here is about the skill development, environmental education and lifelong learning opportunities. So lifelong learning opportunities is what is about the providing ongoing access to education through workshops, seminars and community learning centers, through which they could learn the many basic things like it. We can also take the example of functional learning. So functional learning is what teaching and providing the learning is again a term which been used by the governmental organization or governmental organization so much. This is a functional literacy or functional learning, rather functional learning or functional literacy, could say call it anyways. So functional learning where we have to teach the community or making the community skillful in basic adding and subtraction or basic mathematical thing, basic writing skills. So that is what the functional literacy or functional learning. So functional literacy provides them the basic aspects of the basic aspects of the learning, so that in everyday life they could be consider they could be more confident enough to participate in any kind of the activities they are into, right? So now as we talk about the sustainable development as important aspect of community development, whenever we talk about the community development, we have to think about the sustainability of that program. Now coming to the sustainable development goals, so that is what the kind of it actually is about the kind of intervention, a kind of the program which has been formulated by the United Nations in the year 2015, so to address various social, economic and then environmental challenges in totality. They aim to achieve these all goals by the 2030. So if you look into the any programs and policies of the government, that all align to the SDGs, right? Even the agencies and the NGOs or CSR, every time they, whenever they develop any program, that is always try to align with the SDGs, that is the sustainable goal. So this sustainable goal actually is, and community development are closely interconnected, because the SDGs established by United Nations, as we all know, that consists of the 17 goals aimed at addressing the lot of the global challenges, and then challenges of at the micro level, like the poverty, inequality, health issues, climate issues. So very comprehensive SDGs 17 goals, taking all aspects of the community into one package. And that is what that every country of the world, they actually try to achieve this all goal by 2030, through which definitely it's a micro level program, but it is what is actually bringing change into the micro. It is going to impact it to the micro level, so, right? So by integrating SDGs into the community development frameworks, communities can work towards more sustainable, equitable and resilient communities of resilient future. So there are the 17 goals, like the no poverty, it's about the end poverty. See, these 17 goals further having a lot of the targets. So I'm not going to discuss about all the targets. So many of you must aware about those. So this is broadly I just want to discuss. So as the no poverty is what the end poverty, and in all its forms everywhere. So depending upon the communities and depending upon the nation's programs, every country is working on that, right? Zero hunger, that is what the end hunger, that is achieve food security, and they promote sustainable agricultural aspects, so to give food to every mouth. So our country is also striving best, but even though in hunger index we are so poor, we have to work more on this area. Good health and well-being, so that is what is the third very important goal of the um, sustainable development goals. So ensure healthy lives and promote well-being of all, to all ages, including all the maternal health, child health and all, reproduction and all, right? And then quality education ensures that inclusive and equitable education, and promote lifelong learning, functional learning, and then adult educations into this. Further, it's about the gender equality is taken as very important goal of the sustainable development. It's actually achieve gender equality, tries to achieve the gender equality and empower all women and girls, irrespective of the class, irrespective of their caste, irrespective of their creed and all, right? Next is about the clean water and sanitation. So clean water and sanitation, that's about the ensure availability and sustainability management of the water and sanitation for. We all know that a good number of our in our country, the community is not having accessibility to the drinking water facilities. So again, we have to work more hard in this area. Affordable and clean energy. So here it's more concerned about the sustainability, sustainability from the environmental sense. So here it's about that ensure access to the affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy of all, maybe wind energy, maybe solar energy. Our country is having all this, both for this air, solar energy and air energy, both in both way we have much potential, right? And then so just we need to make community aware on this, so that they could understand that investing once in the solar energy is going to help them in the future, and they could actually save money. So from the money terms, can also guide them, and also from the whole environmental perspective, it is more safer. Then decent work and economic growth. here is about that Manrega is one program that is through which can we try to provide the decent work and then economic growth. And within the economic growth, SHG is also one example where the social in India we are working so hard into this area. So that is what they ensure affordable and reliable and inclusive and sustainable economic growth, including all, particularly the vulnerable ones. Industry, innovation and infrastructure, that is what it's about the build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. So always, even we are welcoming a lot of the MNCs in India, but we have to keep our eyes very close to that, how much they are actually impacting to the environment. So this is what the industry, innovation, infrastructure are also very important goal of sustainable goal, having a lot of the targets as well. Reduced inequality, so the reduced inequality is about within among countries and within among a particular community, started from the macro to the micro level. Sustainable cities and communities, so here it's about the making cities and human settlement inclusive, self-reliant or resilient and sustainable. So it has to be a living space, perfect living space for everyone even in the cities. So we are also working in the smart cities development, smart cities and all. Responsible consumption and production, so responsible consumption and production is equally very important, because here it's about to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns we have to be follow. Maybe we can go with a more kind of the diverse way of actually encouraging the entrepreneurships into the area, so that through this we can reduce the capitalism, we can reduce the gap between the haves and the haves not. We can actually distribute the economy to the larger number of the people. Climate action is another very important goal. Life below water. We also have to talk about the ecology here as an important goal of the sustainable development goal. Life on land. So it's all talking about the environmental aspects mainly. And then peace, justice and strong institutions. So it's about the human rights aspect, right? And then partnership for the goals. This is all a kind of the suggestive goal, that is talking about actually the PPP aspect, that is the public private partnership along with the partnership with the international agency. So in conclusion, we have to say that the sustainability of the community development depends on a well-rounded approach that incorporate these the kind of the approaches we have discussed. These components helping communities to grow in actually way that is resilient, equitable and environmentally responsible. It could be as per the demands and needs of the community, and social work plays a very vital role in each of these areas where we have discussed about the interventional areas. As a practitioner, work to empower communities, foster social justice, and promote sustainable development practices. For focusing on these essential components, communities are more likely to achieve sustainable, long-term and equitable quality of life for all members. So sustainable development goals, particularly if we talk about our community development, are closely related to each other and closely aligned, as the SDGs provides the framework for addressing the various challenges that communities faces. So we're looking into all the 17 goals. Somewhere every community is facing the challenges, actually they are in need of intervention from these areas. And for you personally, you will be benefited by leading these changes by working in collaboration with your team as a social worker, organizing and company organizing, and you can build your skills, grow closer to the group and help building the world a few steps closer to reaching the SDGs by 2030. So it is a suggestion that you have to be very much aware about the 17 goals and then approaches, club together, and then you can develop the better strategy for bringing a more sustainable development. Thank you so much.